Hello, it's John and Patch. The sun's out, so I managed to take my funny hat off. Let's share some experiences I've been having. So, what it's like working for yourself. So I left my corporate job and 26 years in the software industry. Last 8 years was at Amazon as a senior software manager doing artificial intelligence software for recruitment systems. And I worked full-time there for 6 years. The last 2 years was part-time I reduced to 3 days a week, really to help cope with the stress and anxiety I was putting myself through, but also to explore these new things that are coming up in my life: meditation, energy healing, my psychic work. And then in May 31st, last year, I went full-time. So I created my own business called Heart Centered Wellness Limited here in Scotland, and I began going full-time doing this work. So I left my corporate job and I do psychic and quantum healings, readings, clearings. I do meditation, a qualified meditation teacher, clinical reflexology, Swedish massage, and now Indian head massage. I run training courses. I do a lot of music, which I release a lot of music. I release songs every day, and yeah, it's just a wonderful journey. And to explain a little bit about it, the journey's definitely been, how to describe it, like it's been a journey of just making sure that I kind of deprogram myself. So I found that it took months. Come on, you. I found it took months for me to start to really acknowledge that I was programmed, that I'd allowed myself to be programmed by, there's, how to describe programming in this context. Like, culturally, we kind of program ourselves. One thing we seem to be very good at is receiving programming, but also programming each other, right? And by that, I mean, even the kind of Western culture of going to school, then going on to further education or not, and then getting a job or not, like these, and having a family and a home, like these are all parts of our kind of our cultures our cultural norms, if you like. But also we seem to spend a lot of time really focusing on, making that part of our days and reality. Come on, you. Come on, Patch. Patch will sniff forever. And, I've been no exception to those experiences in my life. And it was quite funny because when I was a teenager, I wasn't really sure if I'd go to university or not. And then once I went, I did computing, a degree in computing. It was just a really fascinating experience to then go on and do pretty much all the things I just mentioned. What I would say is that the adventure of leaving my corporate job. So after 26 years of working in small companies, large companies, Amazon was really large. It was, at the time I was there, 1.8 million employees. And although I worked in the Edinburgh office, there was somewhere between 300 and 500 people working there. And it took a long time. Oh, Patch is leaving a little natural package on the ground for me. This is a clean bag. Let's just flash in front of the camera just in case you're worried. Sorry. It's still clean. I've just got loads of bags in my pockets, so I will hide the offending used bag shortly. So just wait here, Patch. He seems to like want to wander off as soon as he's done the poo. So he pulls on his lead just to, just to make things a bit more exciting in the day. Okay. You don't want to know what I was blowing there. Oh wow, this is a lot of fun, Patch. That could have made for a very grim video. Okay, so apologies if anything did turn off in the video. And I also, so I'm going to explain a bit about, so that's the context, I want to explain a bit about my experience this morning. And that was that it's kind of like the dream, living the dream you always wanted to dream, but when you start dreaming it, you don't realize that there's many parts of like the old you that can constrain you from dreaming, fully embracing it and fully enjoying it. So I was sat there in the corner of our kitchen. Quite just a few months ago, we'd extended the kitchen into the garage, so it's even bigger, and it's just really beautiful now. You can sit in a little armchair that my wife lovingly selected, and she found it, and it's like my new favorite chair. And it's so funny because I hated it to begin with. I was like, I don't want that chair. I don't think it looks very good. I think it's just crammed in, and now I would fight for it to stay. I have a very wise and knowledgeable wife. So the funny thing is that I'm sat there and I'm thinking I can really do what I want this morning. I mean, I can do what I want whenever I want now, but it started to realize the things to have gratitude for the things that I don't have to do. So I thought it'd be helpful to share some of those things. And if I think about a Thursday morning in my corporate job, so even part-time, I'd work a Thursday morning, I would be starting work around 9 a.m., maybe just before 9 a.m. And I would be met with something like 70 to 100 emails to get through. Many of them had just been, I was like copied on an email just for my awareness. Some of it was kind of just irrelevant, almost spam in nature, maybe someone thought it was relevant for me because I was on some mailing list, but I didn't feel it was important. And some I'd have to, so you'd scan through those first, and then I would work through the ones I really needed to action in my day. I'd also look at my calendar and say, okay, depending on often who, whether it's a customer or one of the managers or VP or director or someone that had asked me to do something, that I would look at my calendar and see, okay, now what can I do to solve, to accommodate this or not. And very often I'd just be given like a tight deadline. End of the day was quite common, or the next day. So I'd also have to meet with the teams that I managed. So I managed around 30 people, 35 people, and wow, that sounds beautiful. And so I don't have to do any of that, like none of those things. I do get emails, but not that many, which is good. I don't know, maybe like 20 in a day. And I get loads of comments on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, but I love those. And often what I'll do is I'll sit down and go through them in an evening on my phone, or if I'm on my laptop, I'll spend half an hour, and it's the feeling I get when I do it is so different. It's like, 1 in 200 comments, maybe less, maybe it's like 1 in 300 or 1 in 400 are in any way negative, And I'm even learning to create funny responses to the trolls. Because I remember when I first started my channel, I think does it say on YouTube? But it was like within the first year of YouTube being created. And it was just so fascinating. We can cut through here actually, once Patch stops sniffing at the lamppost. So I also don't have any manager to report to. I don't have to worry about what they think of me, whether I'm doing a good job or not. There's no one's going to review my performance. No one's going to fire me. I could only fire myself from my company of one. And no one's going to ask me why I did something. I know that my family get a bit bored of me telling them the minutiae of what goes on. Like yesterday, I was renewing my website fees, which were 300. They were asking. My website's with Wix, and they're asking for £388 for an annual renewal. And then, after doing some research, I found that I could get it for £300 for 2 years instead of a year. So that was amazing. So I went for that. And as an example, I don't think my family are really interested in me telling them that, but it was big news in my world. And the other things that, you know, I just don't worry about anymore is what other people in, you know, the company or I work with. Okay, I don't have any other people in the company, and I don't really work with other people in the same way, but I don't really care about what they think about me. I just, I guess the closest I have are people I partner on podcasts and live streams and things like that. Of course I care what they think of me. I care about them, all of them, but it's just a very different relationship. And one of the things I do enjoy is just telling people like what they mean to me, and just showing gratitude. So that's always really, really enjoyable. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and just allows us to come on you. Just allows us to you know, experience I guess it's like a new world, right? It's a world where we're no longer having to we don't have to be in a company to do work. We don't have to work all day. We don't have to work in the same hours that everyone works, or the same patterns. And so my day, for example, is, you know, I got to choose, there's no bookings in the morning, so I get to do what I want, just literally. And I chose to sit in we have most of the rooms in our home are small, and there's this little like sitting room, and it has a beautiful view of the garden. So I sat there with Patch on the sofa, and I sat in the lotus position watching some YouTube and doing some simple emails. And one of them is I'm very, very blessed with. A few of you have signed up recently for 3 quantum psychic healing sessions for the price of 2, and so that's an option when you go ahead and buy. And I realized that whenever someone bought one, they'd immediately ask how they book the subsequent sessions. And so I think it took me about an hour to create a fairly nicely formatted automated response email that explains what to do next. And the simple answer is that after you bought your first session and the plan for 3 for the price of 2, for the further 2 sessions, you just go and book as normal, and it draws them down, it deducts them from the total of the plan that you had, or have. So that was enjoyable, because I felt like, how to describe it, felt like it would be helpful for people and helpful for me. Helps me because there's less questions, helps people because they don't have to ask the questions. So that's good. And yeah, I've got a client session at 2:30 my time, and then it must be 4:30. I've got my live stream with Binnie on YouTube, and then we'll end within about an hour and a half, and we're going to do that new thing that I've created, the quantum psychic practice sessions, which is just initially it's Binnie and I, and we're trying out with a couple of people that have signed up. We're going to try breakout rooms, and then after that finishes, I've also got a late client session, which seems to be a bit of an anomaly in my calendar. I think it's 8 till 9, which is quite late. So there's another reason to just take it easy this morning, so I don't burn myself out. And there must be more things. I guess the other thing you might be thinking of is, well, what about John's salary? And I would, so for example, how do I, if you compare my life now to back when I used to have a corporate job, was that in my corporate job at Amazon, I would receive a monthly salary, which was plentiful. And then I would also receive like a bonus every 6 months, and that was in the form of shares. And the way it worked is I just always chose to cash those in immediately. I always felt like they were a bit of a gamble, so I just wanted to go ahead and just get the money. And also what was really strange as a feeling when you leave the company is the way that Amazon structure it, is that any shares that you've earned get cancelled on the day that you leave. So there was thousands and thousands of dollars of shares that I guess go somewhere. But to be fair to Amazon, this is somewhat balanced, not directly, but you can ethically argue that it's balanced because in the first couple of years you get like an extra sign-on payment, and that's what covers the difference in receiving your shares. So and at that point I hadn't earned the shares, so I think it's all fair enough. And you also know that, fine well when you sign up that the day you leave, you lose your shares. So I was always happy. They're just shares that have, what's the term, vested. You keep anything that has vested. So what I find really interesting about the way the money flows is that it's very much a feeling. I remember before, when I was doing this as a hobby, and I think at best I would cover my website costs and a few other bits and pieces. But in the first few years when it was a hobby, I always felt really bad about spending money, for my business, like buying a domain, or spending money on equipment for my business. And so it felt like there was a kind of monetary block. And also when money came in to, when someone would pay for some sort of session, that when it came into the account, that it would, it would stand out as a bit of an anomaly in our personal account. I don't really know why I had that feeling about it, but it's because I was very grateful for it. But I think it's because, you're not used to working like that in a corporate job where you just get paid in a salary and one lump sum comes in. So to describe how I currently get paid, I have a business banking account now, and so the money comes in from client sessions when you graciously book me in for something, or a training course, or whatever you choose, and then it goes through the Stripe or PayPal are the two payment providers I use. So you buy it through my Wix website, it goes through one of those two payment providers, and then they have a delay. I don't really know what it is, maybe a week to 2 weeks. I think it just depends on the day of the week, it seems. I've set them both up to try and pay me as fast as possible, but they take a week or two, and then the money comes into my business banking account. And then what's really funny is, even though it's money, there's no one else in the company, there's no one else that has an interest in the money other than me and my accountant that does my bookkeeping, is that what I'll do next is just figure out what money I would take out. And one of the things I never realized when I first started my company was that the company itself needs some money for things like refunds and I don't know, let's say I had a month that was really slow and I still wanted to pay myself something, I'd have a little bit of money in there as well. So I don't think the exact number is helpful to share, but it is a few £1,000s. And so I'm thinking, you at a personal level, you think, yeah, but I earned that money, I want that. But I know my company needs it, because it allows me to not worry about having to do refunds or, having to somehow loan my company money just to be able to do a refund and all that kind of stuff. So that makes sense. And plus, one day when I close the company, like either at some point after retiring or by the time I die, that the money would come back to me or someone, right? So it's mine, it's just there helping support the company. There's like a buffer for it. And what I'm about to do, rather than take like ad hoc sums of money in conversations with my my accountant, what I'll now start doing is taking a payroll. Likely it'll be a small amount each month from my company, and then each month I'll decide how much I take out. And it's fascinating, we'll be almost a year in, so I think that will start at the end of April into May, and it'll be a year since I started trading. My company was launched for that experience to have continued to evolve. And it's also quite funny that it'll be quite similar to having a salary, although it's far tinier, like basic salary, and then there'll be larger amounts that I just transfer to myself when I need it, because the company doesn't need the money and it doesn't need to make profits. It's like I just need to have a salary. So yeah, that I was just explaining a bit about the process because I thought it'd be helpful. And in terms of the amounts of money, whilst I've never shared how much I've earned, it's plenty to live off, and it feels very abundant and safe. And I feel, especially with all that's going on in the world, is the flexibility so important, right? Like I feel like I can diversify the different offerings. So at the moment, most of my income is through one-to-one sessions, but that's not true for every month, especially when I'm advertising for a training course, and then the training course may dominate the income for a couple of months. And I usually provide like some sort of payment plan, so it's not just all in 1 month. People can pay for the training over several months. Fun fact, if you didn't know it. And yeah, I'm also exploring these new kind of 1 hour low cost sessions as well, one for training and then one for the practice sessions. I think they'll be really interesting to see how people enjoy them or not. And so just exploring that flexibility. And I did receive a kind of future meditation experience, or should I say in meditation, a future experience, and found more about what it's like in my future, that I do work quite differently to how I work now, and it feels much more fabulous, fun, freedom and flow are my F's, and just excited to continue to explore and enjoy that. So yeah, I thought I would share this journey and reflections with you. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions or any topics you'd like me to walk and talk about with Patch, let me know. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this 26-minute walk together. It's been a lot of fun. Take care. Sending love.